Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, the 5th of November. Hope everybody's having a great week. Just wanted to release another video from Platinum Crypto Academy and really discuss a couple of the main points that are going on in the market. So what I'm going to go through today is first I'm going to talk about Bitcoin in Argentina, Bitcoin in relation to the long-term bullish trend that I feel that's occurring. I'm going to talk about Tether and how I want people to be prepared for what potentially could happen. I'm not saying it is going to happen, but there's been news out recently of the one of the major players within Tether has been arrested and so on and so forth. And I'm not going to get into the actual criminal case or anything like that, but I'm going to talk about the impact on the cryptosphere. Also going to talk about the bit of negative news coming from Litecoin, to be honest, but I'm going to get into all of this. So first, let's start with Bitcoin. What's going on, what's happening, and where we're going out with that. So currently, Bitcoin trading volumes reported record highs in Argentina. We all know the problems they're having with the economic turmoil on the Argentinian peso. Effectively, they recently forced the US dollar purchase limit of 10,000 down to $2,000 a month in Argentina. And so what's been happening, they've seen is money's been flocking into Bitcoin, so much so that there's been a huge premium on prices in Bitcoin in Argentina. From what reports are saying, currently Bitcoin is trading at around 9.2, 9.3 in quite a bit of a range on Coinbase, but in Argentina, it's trading at $10,500. So look at that arbitrage trade opportunity there. If you're able to do it, why not? But clearly, there's an opportunity there. In the past, as we all know, and I've reported on it several times, that BTC has been consistently found love or popularity, shall we say, in hyperinflated and politically and economic unstable nations. We know this. So there's got to be opportunities for people like ourselves who can exploit this. I know that doesn't sound great, but the fact is, if you can make some money, you can make some money. It's not our fault that the Argentinians are struggling in terms of their central bank, in terms of their trade relations, and so on. And so, there's an opportunity there. Essentially, the cryptocurrency takes a role as a safe haven, as I've discussed this quite a lot of times, in dystopian economies where investors have lost confidence in all major reserves assets, dollar, euro, yen, and gold, and in payment systems. Now, this is clearly happening in places around the world. We've seen it go on not so shortly in China, where banks have been shut. There's been an increase, and since Xi Jinping has released positive sentiment, we've seen an upsurge. We've also seen this happening in Venezuela, now in Argentina. It's occurring across several different major countries in the world, and if this continues, this is only good for cryptos and Bitcoin essentially at this time. So next bit of news as well. I want to talk about this major event we all know next year, the halvening. Well, I wanted to give some facts about it. So I think historical data, from having a look at the historical data, shows that cryptocurrency rallied from $5 to $16 during the 6 months leading up to the reward halvening in May several years ago. The second one in mid-June 2016, we saw Bitcoin jump from $360 to $780 before trimming its gains and falling back to 465 in August, when we also saw the block rewards cut from 25 BTC to 12.5 BTC. Importantly, Bitcoin continues to scale to new heights following reward halvening. The long-term bullish case is that it looks stronger. The network is getting stronger. The hash rate is strengthening. The strengthening narrative that the top cryptocurrency is digital gold and a hedge against inflation, as we've just discussed, is only growing and growing. I don't believe it's a safe haven as yet. I've said this many a times, but I think it's getting that way. Many observers believe negative interest rates era, which we're seeing coming out of some European banks, we're seeing it come out of many places around the world, that people are having negative interest rates on their mortgages and so on. Now, traditional investors pour money into normal vehicles of investment, i.e. ETFs, options, trade stocks, bonds, etc. And I think that, having a alternative is nothing bad to have as a portfolio, as a separate alternative. It doesn't have to be a whole part of your portfolio, but it's definitely something worth considering. After all, we've got to remember BTC, especially in the crypto space, is the best performing asset in the world of 2019 and possibly the last decade, and I believe it will be. So, all that being said, as I mentioned, we've got where are we going here? We have got volume of cryptocurrency. So check out this information. I think this is also a very good little topic. Volume of crypto future trades is catching up to spot trading. Now, I'm not sure. Obviously, they've done the research. What can you do? You can only trust what people are saying in terms of research. You can do the research yourself, or you can read research what we're seeing here. I don't know whether this is correct because I'm seeing billions in terms of, well, hundreds and hundreds of millions, shall we say, in spot trading. I'm only seeing maybe 100 or so million in futures trading. But again, these guys have done the full blitz report. So, if that is the case, it's showing that adoption is occurring in other vehicles of not just spot trading. And I think that that's only a positive thing. I would obviously like to see the volume on backed than anywhere else, but CME has reported that they're doing very well, haven't they? We've seen that over the time. So I think that's really interesting. I think I'm also going to get into a topic before I get into Tether. I'm going to talk about Litecoin and how, to be honest, not looking too good. I try to be really positive on this channel, but I think that with all that's coming out of Litecoin at the moment, the non-price, basically, the hash rate is the lowest we've seen for a long, long time. We've seen 64.64% drop from the highs of the hash rate. The majority of the drops happened following August the 5th, on the day the mining reward for Litecoin basically was reduced from 25 Litecoins to 12.5 Litecoin. Now, this process is usually aimed at curbing inflation by reducing block rewards by 50%, is repeated every 4 years, but essentially this reduced mining profits if the price of Litecoin isn't going up in that same trajectory. And so what happens is miners simply aren't interested. So that means that the less miners there are, the less network security there is, the lower the hash rate basically can cause a collapse of the infrastructure of Litecoin. And so really bad news coming out here of Litecoin. We're seeing a stagnant price on Litecoin generally, not really performing. Hasn't really seen much positive. Hasn't really seen much positive based on this recent run. We're talking $63 for the coin at the moment, and it's just, we've seen highs, we've seen lows of under $50, but let's be honest, if the miners stop doing what they're doing, there's no network, is there? So really bad news for those bag holders of Litecoin. But let's be positive. Let's see. Hopefully there'll be a turnaround. Hopefully they can provide, areas in the market which currently aren't being used. Now, I must say that usually the Litecoin network is very fast. It's very efficient. It works very well for sending transfers. So, it's not the only fast network, obviously, but it does offer that compared to Bitcoin. So hopefully there's some positive sentiment coming out there sooner rather than later. Now, a major part of today's video, I wanted to talk about about Tether and how, as you can see, we've got an arrest's been going on, and like I said, I'm not going to get into the law case or what actually is going on because there's no proof. We'll see what happens in the long run. But what I wanted to talk about was the impact of Tether on the market. As you can see from this money flow in the last 24 hours, courtesy of CoinLib, you can see that it's quite a large part of the market. And with all the news and speculation around the validity, the genuineness of the service, the fact that there could be market manipulation, the fact that there's been reports that 150 million of Tether went missing without getting, I wanted to explore what would happen if there was a demise of Tether and what impact would that have on the market. Well, firstly, I think there'd be a lot of panic and FUD. I think there'd be a lot of panic. I think people, um, the news of Tether potentially shutting up shop would, like I said, create panic. And what this would mean is people would be clawing its way to Bitcoin, causing the Tether price to tank and the stability on that coin to collapse. What does that mean for the market overall? Everybody will be really, although the Bitcoin market, I suppose, has been matured as an asset, emotion plays a huge part in price action. The same logic applies strongly to all the altcoins correlated to Bitcoin. This will, I believe, create a huge ripple effect throughout the market. I think that there'll be a huge drop. I think there'll be an exodus of capital out of the market, potentially. This might not happen overnight, but it'll happen gradually. It depends on how the potential demise of Tether does happen. But if the price falls below, I'm talking Bitcoin here, psychological levels, this could be a great opportunity for long-term speculators because you might be getting prices where you've never seen them or will not normally see again. But the resurgence could be a lot slower, given that the one of the major assets of something like Tether is to provide liquidity in the market. Obviously, being an abrupt end to the biggest liquidity provider, which it clearly is, it would essentially cause, as it's happened before, it hasn't collapsed before, but there's been really big negative sways about Tether. And so, how did that impact the market before? What can we learn from it? Well, we saw that other stablecoins rallied. We saw that, for example, TrueUSD's peg rose by 8%. We saw USD Coin rose by 11%. And it's can only be explained by the fact that people need that alternative than actually going back to fiat so they can trade accordingly. And so what would we expect to happen from that? Well, these coins would rally, there would still be an option, but I think Bitcoin and the major currency assets would diminish over a short-term period. But what is the opportunity then for people like ourselves who are in the markets, who are aware of this, who prepare for things like this? Well, so you've got two types of opportunities. You've got places like Binance, you've got places like Coinbase, on ramps and exchanges. With the potential demise of Tether, what could happen to Bitcoin could create a great depreciation, like I've said before, as people head for the exit after Tether's so-called hypothetical misfortunes and problems that they go through. However, on exchanges, you'd see buying pressure for Bitcoin would increase as people would head for the next safest asset, Bitcoin, or another USD, or another Tether, another alternative Tether. And what does this mean? Well, it means that people can either, that money will have to come from somewhere. As you can see, money's flowing rapidly between Tether and alternative and all these other coins. If this doesn't exist, where are they going to go? Okay, so they can go to alternative stable assets, TrueUSD, and they can go to others that I mentioned. But what would happen? I believe Bitcoin would essentially rally in some places and demise and go down in other places. So where's the opportunity? Arbitrage. You've got to keep an eye on where the price discrepancies between exchanges will be, and you'll trade between those places. As I mentioned before with the Argentina situation, there's going to be these opportunities for risk takers or traders that want to take that opportunity. You want to be able to quickly execute trades in this nature because the price will soon settle and it'll soon either rebound or drop down, but you've got to have an opportunity there's got to be an opportunity to exploit, and I believe it's in that arbitrage sector between exchanges. The disparity of BTC price, the disparity of Ethereum price on exchanges. I think that could be a really good opportunity for those who are aware of how to take that opportunity. So in essence, panic will occur, exodus from Tether will occur, initial inflation, not inflation, sorry, initial price increase of Bitcoin. However, that will then be followed by a gradual decrease in price once the market settles. But with that timing, what can you do? Take advantage of price differences on exchanges. And with that being said, I hope everybody's had a great week. Bit of a longer video today, I'm sorry for that, but I wanted to get that point across. If you want to find out a little bit more on how to do what I've spoken about, get in touch with us. We recently, again, released our market analysis today on the top coins where we believe the top trading levels are. So check it out on Platinum Crypto Academy. Jump across, get your free subscription to Platinum's weekly trading magazine, Cryptonair Weekly. It's all free. Subscribe, get involved. Speak to you soon. My next video will probably be Thursday or Friday this week.